Welcome everyone to this very first devlog video on my exciting new project, Cat Blockade. Now, if you haven't seen it already, I've added my first video to this channel for the in-development trailer, which explains the main premise. But in this video I'm hoping to dive a bit more into the development side of things, as well as my direction for this channel. Perhaps the best place to start then is my ultimate goal. That is, the goal to complete Cat Blockade within a single year. Yep, a single year. So, let's discuss the scope of Cat Blockade, and what it actually is. Cat Blockade, for those that don't know, is a networked game where two or more players battle it out, either playing as a rat or a cat. The aim of the rats is to escape the grid via openings in the cage, while in contrast the cat aims to trap the rats, squashing them to an early grave. In this current build, the best strategy for the rats is to continuously navigate this ever-changing block level, nabbing any coins that spawn in. Finding vaults in the falling blocks, rats can purchase blocks that can be placed on the grid, putting a platform to their escape. Alternatively, ruin the line of clears for the cats, leading to a block build-up and maybe just a game over for the cat. The cat, meanwhile, must place blocks carefully, making sure to keep useful dangerous blocks high in the grid, but clearing lesser useful blocks as to not cause a build-up. What block the cat is able to drop are defined by the magical slot wheel above the cage. A single symbol indicates that the item will appear. Two of a symbol mean that block can now appear multiple times in a single block grid and has a higher chance of appearing. Now, the triple slot payout is still in development, but this will be a high priority for cat players, as cats will receive a permanent upgrade to these block types for the rest of the game. Blocks may explode with lingering flames left behind, while conveyors gain the chance to suddenly switch direction periodically. Rerolling the slots costs meter, which will be a useful tool for cats. Either spend meter rerolling the slots, or save it up to form an ultimate attack, and eventually even an ultimate level 2. Despite saying all of this, Cat Blockade is likely to change a lot. I'm already planning new mechanics to give the rats more options, giving them new tasks to complete by drilling into the fallen blocks for resources, along with more ways for the cat to spend meter, new blocks, and definitely some new animations, UI, and all around better polish. But I'll save the full explanation for a later video. Players can create lobbies where they can pick one or multiple game modes. Right now I've only shared a glimpse at an early version of the base mode, which for now I'm calling Party, but I'm hoping to add many more in the future, some PvP focused, while others will lean more into the cooperative play. So, now that I've explained the game, what's this channel all about? This video series is the road to how I hopefully reach my dream of making a game and actually complete it. From here I will be posting some design videos, detailing how the vision of this game has changed over time, and also where it's heading, as well as the occasional How I Did It video, breaking down the logic and theory behind some of the inner workings of Cat Blockade. Alright, so if I'm starting a devlog series, I should probably backtrack and tell you how I got started on this game of mine. So, I want to make a game. That much we know. What I didn't say was what I wanted to make was an expansive world delving deep into lore and characters over a multi-arc saga with active time combat spanning both in vehicles and on foot. Well, if you've seen the in-development trailer for Cat Blockade, then you know this isn't that. So, what happened? And the answer to that is pretty easy. What I wanted to make was far too ambitious for where I am in life. So instead of that, I sat down and thought about it. What was I actually capable of making right now, and preferably within a single year? What I came up with was a number of possible solutions. Some editing many of my old game ideas into more manageable concepts, maybe turning a 3D action game into more of a 2D platforming action puzzle game, or making something that's turn-based and putting all my effort into the narrative. But none of these sounded like they met my goal of being small enough to develop within a single year. So, I looked at some of my smaller games I'd made as game jams, as well as adding a few new ideas, and I stumbled onto an old game concept of mine. One where a block player places down blocks while another player tries to escape. Looking back at the old first draft of this game, it was rough, and I mean rough. This was one of the first games I made in Unity that I'd finished before I learned actually good coding. Blocks were each their own object with rigid bodies attached, meaning, well, the blocks would collide with each other, and when packed into a small structure, they'd eventually build up enough force to bounce apart from each other every time a new block was dropped. But the core concept was there. The kick I needed to start this project came when I managed to grab one of my friends to do a game jam with me over a weekend, and from there I managed to get a truly good start. Over the course of the jam I managed to get set up on some block game fundamentals and start up my player controller. Looking at this now, it really wasn't much, but it was enough to get started on. 2 players left unfinished and in an annoying enough state where I couldn't not continue working on this game. From August to October I worked at this game with speed, quickly adapting gameplay mechanics and getting the core systems in place. It felt like I couldn't be stopped. My game Cat Blockade may actually become a reality. Well, at least till November time. News of upcoming changes where I worked made everything I was working on less stable. The fear of industry-wide layoffs and redundancies started to become more of a reality. By January, work on the game had completely slowed down. My fears had been realised, as I'd become redundant. Despite it all, from here 2 roads sat in front of me. Try to complete Cat Blockade within the next 4 months or so, or spend the time working on my website, advertising myself and hopefully getting a new job. In all honesty, I actually chose the latter. I spent the first week of consultancy creating a website, then worked on a CV to share my skills, the week after to apply to a new job. If you've seen the job market right now, you may already know what's happened. The interviews haven't come despite applying at a rate the jobs were appearing, and I wasn't getting anywhere. So with a morning dedicated to applying and the entire rest of the day left open, I looked back at Cat Blockade and finally got to work. Which brings us all the way back to today, that I'm making a game and how excited I am to finally share it with all of you. Cat Blockade still has a long way to go, both in its evolving design and the work needed to bring the core fundamentals into the game. If anyone has any questions or even suggestions on how to evolve this project, I'd love to see them. And with that, all I can say is thank you so much for watching. Hopefully see you in the next one as I dive into the evolution of Cat Blockade's core mechanics, the issues, the solutions, where I'm going, and why ultimately I'm still nowhere near finished designing this game. Anyway, that's all for now, so catch you later.